Hello everyone, and welcome to the PowerPoint slides for week 4's lab with the County Market Grocery Store Tour. There is a lot that's going to be going on this upcoming week. When you do get to the store, there's going to be plenty of work for you to do, so please review this and be prepared. This is just a general outline that's going to help you with the assignment and help you get an idea for what's going to be going on when you do get to County Market and when you do get to the aisles of the grocery store. Do not be running around the grocery store trying to locate foods and determine what a unit price is at the last minute. Don't be that guy. Nobody wants to go shopping with that guy. Taking a little time to prepare for this week's lab will go a long way. This set of slides will review the main goals of this week's lab and provide you with all the information that you need to know to get full credit for this lab assignment. Getting to County Market is very easy, and it's less than a mile's drive, walk, or bike ride from the old main building on campus. Also, there is a free Panther shuttle that will take you directly to County Market and leaves from the Student Union every 20 minutes. The Panther shuttle is very easy to use. Just make sure that you have your Panther card with you if you are taking the bus. There is a chance that they will charge you money for the shuttle if you do not have your card, so don't take that risk. If you're taking the bus, just bring your card. If you are going on your own and you do not know where County Market is, take a look at the link to the County Market map that is available on this slide. Even if you think you know where it is, just make sure. There are not many grocery stores in Charleston, but it never hurts to make sure that you are going to the right location. If you are going from campus, you just go out to Lincoln Avenue, you take a left on Lincoln and walk until you reach E Street. Cross E Street and look to your right, you will see County Market right there. For this lab, please bring a calculator. If your phone has a calculator, you can use that. If you can find any other device that has calculating capacity, that will work as well. You will need a calculator to complete and receive full credit for this assignment. So what are we trying to accomplish with this lab? Well, you should be able to identify the different costs of certain foods in order to prepare a balanced meal while working within a budget. Identify common techniques to minimize shopping costs, which we'll discuss on future slides. Be able to locate unit price and serving size and understand what each of these represent. With the unit price, know how to determine whether a food is a good bargain. So we'll talk about what unit price is and we'll talk about how you can use that. And then finally, determine how to adjust a recipe in order to increase and maximize its nutritional value. Here is an overview of a few things that you can do to reduce the price of food that you purchase. For many canned and packaged food items, you can buy the generic store brands. Note that not all foods have a generic brand. You will never find a generic apple or a generic carrot. Beverages, you can get beverages generically. They are generally produced in the area, so they're usually of a high quality, if not a higher quality than some of the brand name beverages. For sugar, salt, and spices, they are similar quality to brand name options, so these are all different things that you can buy generically. Cheese, canned beans, and vegetables are also other foods that are good when bought generically. When you are shopping and comparing the price of two different food options, it may be difficult to distinguish which food is the better value if the foods are sold in different size containers. The best and the easiest way to determine the cost of the product is by looking at its unit price. The unit price is the cost of the product in a very basic amount. Many times this is the cost divided to be the price for 1 ounce of that product. By comparing this between two food items, you can easily see which of the two is the better deal. We will look more at this in a future slide. Most of the time, if you buy a larger container of the food, the per unit price will be lower on the larger item. But this is not always the case, even if it is the exact same product in different sized containers. Certain stores sell products at lower costs. If you're looking to purchase a bottle of orange juice, you probably do not need to go to a Whole Foods to do so. In fact, you could probably go to a discount grocery store for this food and get an orange juice of equal value to what you would find at Whole Foods. In-season produce refers to fruits and vegetables that are sold during their best growing period. The largest amount of this produce is grown at this time, and also the highest quality fruits and vegetables are available. It requires a little bit of preparation and planning for meals and snacks around what is in season, but ultimately this is going to give you higher quality ingredients at a lower cost. When a recipe calls for meat, you can cut the costs by purchasing a less expensive cut of the meat. Note that you may sacrifice the quality of meat to some degree by doing this. Many recipes call for salt or seasonings that contain very large quantities of sodium. You can easily cut way back on sodium by replacing these with herbs and seasonings that do not contain any sodium in them. Just make sure that you are aware of the flavor that you will be provided by doing so. Some herbs and spices are good in certain dishes while others are not. And then if you are baking, note that salt plays a role in the structure and texture of the final product. A herb or a spice would not effectively replace salt in this instance. Fruits and vegetables are loaded with vitamins, minerals, and phytonutrients and can add a more natural flavor to foods. Make sure that you research which fruits and vegetables are good complements to certain dishes before preparing that dish. Certain fruits and vegetables go better with some dishes than others. Fresh and unprocessed are always good options. To do this, use foods that have fewer ingredients or are their own ingredient, like fruits, vegetables, meats. Or if you're using pre-made foods like salsas and sauces, choose the options with the ingredients that you can recognize. If you shop around the perimeter of the grocery store first before going into some of the inner aisles, you will find more fresh fruits and vegetables, dairy, and meat products that are naturally raised and more basic ingredients. If purchasing breads, pastas, or cereals, go with the whole grain products. These products will have more nutrients in them, and they are better tolerated by our bodies than their refined versions. The actual nutritional content of organic and non-organic foods is not very different. However, there are health risks that are associated with non-organic foods, especially the dirty dozen of the fruits and vegetables, as well as meats and meat products. Also, animals that were naturally raised and animal products of animals naturally raised tend to have a better nutritional content. Recipes that call for refined sugar in baking can be replaced with honey or agave nectar. Remember though that sugar performs essential structural roles in baking that are not exactly duplicated by honey or agave nectar. If using one of these two, do a little online research. This way you will know how to adjust the recipes to make sure that you get the same structure and texture of the baked product when using honey or agave nectar. One note on low fat, low sugar, and low sodium options. In the past, this was often a recommended way to improve the nutritional value of food. This is not necessarily the case anymore. To make up for the flavors of lost fat, sugar, and salt, food manufacturers will add other ingredients or nutrients that may be just as harmful or even worse for you, so please be mindful of this. Nutrition can be complex, but it always revolves around simple foods. For this lab, you need to be aware of serving size. Have any of you ever looked at a nutrition label of a muffin? If you have not done this before, find a muffin when you are at County Market and look closely at its nutrition label. You will probably see somewhere that it contains around 200 calories. Now, if you look more closely, you will see that there are multiple servings of the muffin in one package. So one muffin is not a serving? That's right. Many times muffin contains 2 or 3 servings in one muffin. So instead of getting 200 calories with this muffin, you will be eating more like 400 or 600 calories, and some muffins have even more calories than this. The main point that you should be able to recognize is that you can find how many servings are in a container by looking at, well, servings per container. This is very simple, but make sure that you know where to find this when you go to County Market. Now for unit price. Unit price breaks down the cost of a food into its simplest unit. When I was a student in college, I would eat a lot of peanut butter sandwiches. I would go to the peanut butter aisle and look for the best purchase. I always bought peanut butter that said natural on the front because that means that it has 0 trans fat in it. But I had a hard time figuring out whether a larger jar of peanut butter was a better buy than a smaller one. Common sense would tell me that yes, it is. But I would look at the prices, compare the two, and I wasn't always 100% sure, and I wanted to be sure. So I would stand there for a few minutes, scratch my head while I tried to compute the costs in my head. To make a long story short, I struggled with this for some time. However, after a while, longer than I'd like to admit, I finally was able to figure out where I could find the unit price. Now this is not on the food label, but it will be next to the price that is on the shelves. The unit is usually an ounce, and the price is divided into cost per unit or cost per ounce. Now, when I go to the store, I take a look at 2 jars of peanut butter. If there is a jar that is 25 cents per ounce, and then there is a small jar that is 35 cents per ounce, I buy jar number 1. So you get the idea. It is that simple, and it makes buying foods that are a good deal that much easier for you. Your assignment will ask you to calculate the cost per ounce of a food item. Do you need to spend a bunch of time and energy calculating the cost of a certain food through this method? No, you do not. You can simply look at the shelves, find unit price, and enter this into your assignment. This will make your work much easier. Calculating cost per serving will be very simple. You must be able to find the cost of the food and the number of servings in the food. Where do you find the number of servings? Very simple. In the servings per container section on the food label that you can see in the previous slide. The cost of the food is even easier. So if you have a food cost that is $20 and you want to know the cost per serving, first of all, go to the back of the food label, look for the number of servings in container, in this case there are 4, and then do simple division. So take the cost of that and divide it by the number of servings in the container to get your cost per serving. So if there's 4 servings in the container and the total food cost is $20, take $20 and divide that by 4 to find the cost per serving, and you will get $5.